Hey there, travel beauty chasers, and welcome back to Chasing Travel Beauty with Stephanie. So thank you so much for joining on today. As I was preparing for today's episode, I was like, can you guys believe we are 3 weeks into the new year? I'm like, Lord, why does time seem to be going faster and faster and faster as every year goes by? But it's been amazing walking this journey of doing these daily videos, and I feel so blessed. I got a comment yesterday from the video that I posted, and it was just good. You know, sometimes as a content creator, we're not always sure if what we're doing is having impact, or maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the only one, because when I think about, I shared like in my first video and some of the others that my whole reason really for doing this is to bring more light, more love, more joy, more beauty into the world, and to find my people. I'm looking for my people. Who are those like-minded travelers out there who say, enough with all of the negative news and the negative press and, the doomsday, prophecies and all the negative things that are happening in the world. And how can we just bring more love, more light, and more beauty as we travel the world, as we see people from, different cultures, different religions? How can we find and focus on the things that connect us more than the things that divide us? And so I got a comment from someone who was watching yesterday, and it really just blessed my soul, because it was like, okay, it may feel quiet. It may feel lonely. Some of you watching, maybe you're never going to comment, and that's okay. Everybody, has to do what they're comfortable with, but know that if you comment, that it matters. And then a friend of mine sent me a text and told me how it was blessing her family, her husband specifically. And it just, really touched my heart to say, okay, Stephanie, yes, you should continue this daily practice. It is having an impact, and you're going to find your people. So are you my people? Are you a person who says, you know what, there's enough negativity. I don't want to spread negativity. I'm not about hate. I'm about love. I'm about peace. I'm about joy. I'm about beauty. And I love travel. And maybe you love travel in your mind because you haven't started traveling yet. Which brings me to what we're going to talk about today. So yesterday we did a video talking about my top 7 picks for, where you should absolutely go travel to. And what I realized is, okay, I talked about the 7 places. Some of them I have, long videos for that you can go watch those in my video library, like Alicante and Malaga. Like, you can go watch those. But then some of them, I haven't made the videos yet. So that is priority number 1. So we're going to talk about the 7. I'm going to add additional video context, background, to hopefully really inspire you and help you figure out, okay, of these 7 places, is any of them right for you? And so tonight I'm going to spend time talking about Bermuda, and also again share more video and pictures, just to hopefully make you say, oh my God, I need to see this place for myself. So I mentioned that I went to Bermuda. Again, this was 2.5 years ago. So my mom passed away in June of 2023. I went to Bermuda like 2 months later, and they were having cup match. So, okay, if you don't know anything about Bermuda, cup match is a whole thing, right? So like in the States, we have the Super Bowl, and it's bigger than that though. It's bigger than that. And probably like people who are into soccer, like, maybe that would be close. Like if you're having the, what do they call it? The world, I don't know. What is the thing that they're about to have for the soccer match? Like the World Cup, right? Okay. So, cup match, I think is cricket. I think that's the game they're playing. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, cup match is a big deal in Bermuda. So much so, it's a 2-day holiday. Everyone is off. It's amazing. And so when I went, well, first let me back up. I went to Bermuda for two reasons. So one, like I knew I needed some, I was in the throes of grief. Like it was the biggest loss I've ever experienced in my life. And I thought, okay, when my mom passes away, it's going to be hard. I didn't know the profound loss that I would feel as a result of her no longer being present, physically present. And so I knew I needed like water therapy. I needed like a place of peace to just like try to start processing the loss. And I also have a good friend, a childhood friend, like we've been friends since high school, who lives there. She married a Bermudian. I can see why. I'll tell you more about him later. And so I knew that, okay, if I go there, at least, I know someone who's there. But not only that, she had lost her mom and dad. So she's acquainted with grief, would have, that a higher level of empathy. But the best part, she's a therapist, I think a psychotherapist actually. So I knew like if I went way off the rails, she could help me. So I knew Bermuda was like the perfect spot to go at this time for my grief. But I had no idea of just how amazing that visit would be. And as I mentioned yesterday, like I've been to Bermuda twice. So the first time I went there, her son was having his baby dedication. So I went then. It was nice. I enjoyed it. People were lovely. Place was beautiful. But this time that awe, wonder, childlike joy really went to another level, and the level of peace went to a whole nother level. So being there in Bermuda, when I say peace, so let me back up again. Two things. So half of the time I stayed at the St. Regis, and then half of the time I stayed with my friend and her family. And so again, I mentioned that like it was cup match, everyone is off. So when I stayed with her, like we also like, people do camping. They're like out, like when they're in nature, this nature preserve, it's not like just being in the woods, there's water everywhere. So it's just like absolutely amazing. Seeing nature, seeing birds I've never seen before, flowers I've never seen before, color of water I've never seen, just absolutely stunningly beautiful. And so I want to tell you about, I told you about the one experience I had when I was checking into the St. Regis, and, how warm and kind the people are, and how when I told the woman who was checking me in why I was there, and she said, can I hug you? And, she gave me a hug because she could tell, how heavy I was feeling. But when I tell you the peace that exists on this island, and so again, for those of you who are either solo travelers, solo female travelers, or you've never done a solo travel trip and you want to do one, here's again why I say Bermuda would be that perfect place, because of the level of tranquility and peace that exists on the island. So imagine this, it's cup match. So think you were in the US and everyone was off, and everyone is, at a nature preserve. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people in this nature preserve where there's this beach. And there's like maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 max police officers that I see the whole time. No fight breaks out. There's no like, police state, military state where people, police officers are there with, machine guns, the kinds of things that you see when there are large groups of people in the United States. It's like everyone got along. Everyone was there to just enjoy the time with family, with friends, celebrating. And that just gave me such a sense of peace. Like I could exhale, like I could relax. I didn't have to be tense. I didn't have to be on guard. And I could also, I feel like, really connect with my grief and be fully present in that as well. So amazing place as a first time place to go. Now, maybe you're not grieving, so you don't you don't need a place that gives you all that, but you want to be safe. So this really speaks to the safety aspect. The fact that they could get thousands of people together in one place. No one's ripping people off. No one's beating people up. No one's, doing any of those, untoward things. you can go to Bermuda and have a great time and just relax and enjoy. And when I say enjoy, there's so much there to enjoy. OMG. The beaches. Now, I will say I've been, I think, twice to Horseshoe Bay Beach. It's supposed to have pink sand. The 2 times I've been, the sand's not pink, but it is powdery soft and absolutely stunning. And you have these big, like, black volcanic rocks coming out of the water. So with the water being like this crystal turquoise blue with the black lava rock, it is just simply stunning to behold. And I think probably almost every beach had a very similar vibe. Powder beaches everywhere you go, so not like coarse sand, not rocks, but beautiful powdery beaches. Of course, there's Hamilton, there's St. George's, where you have shopping and these cute pastel colored houses. There's Gibbs Lighthouse. So I actually did go to Gibbs Lighthouse and walked all the way up to the top. You get a good sweat, but you also get an amazing view. I always say the higher you go, the better the view, and it's certainly worth the price of admission. I think it was very cheap. I can't even remember. It was very cheap, but certainly worth doing. Restaurants, diversity of restaurants. In fact, there was one restaurant that my friend took me to. It was an Italian restaurant in the downtown area, and it was really good. Because I'm thinking it's Bermuda. I eat Italian food in Italy. What is this going to be? It was delicious. Absolutely. I think they have a, what do you call those? One of those, what is it, like not fire roasted, but one of those actual ovens that they use in Italy. And I think that probably made a difference in how delicious the food was. Absolutely amazing. I've never had a bad meal. And then, the thing that they're famous for, I think it's called Mel's fish something. Anyway, they make these fish sandwiches. It's like fish on top of fish on top. Like it's a huge sandwich with, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 pieces of fish, and it's considered like the best on the island. Well, I will say I had it. It was delicious, but the best fish on the island, my friend's husband made. And in fact, he used curry powder. I was like, what is that seasoning? It's so delicious. And the fish is so fresh. They're catching it fresh. Like it's good seafood. I'm like, what is that seasoning? And so, he finally told me, I hope it wasn't supposed to be a secret. Because I just told all of you, but you won't tell anyone. And so now at home, when I am making fish, I always got to put a little curry powder on it. It takes the level and the flavor up a whole notch. So I'm going to share with you some video following this on Bermuda. And if you haven't been, it's a must do. It's a must do. And if you haven't done solo travel and you're like, I want to dip my toe in there and see if it'll work for me, Bermuda, it's the place you should go. You will have an amazing time. You will feel safe. You won't have to be, overly concerned. Am I going to be okay? You will be great. So in the video, you'll see we went to the unfinished church. There are tons of churches on the island. We went to a couple of historic ones. The fort, I forget the name of it. There's a fort and it's right next to the St. Regis. I'll give you guys a tour of my room at the St. Regis. The service there was impeccable. The room, beautiful. And in fact, let me talk about this. So some of you, when you see the price, you go, oh, you might say, oh, I don't know if I'm going to stay at the St. Regis. Well, I felt the same as you, but I didn't have to pay. I didn't have to pay for the whole thing. So it is a Marriott Bonvoy property. So I used mostly points for my stay there. So, my way of racking up points is I have my Uber connected to my Bonvoy, so I get those points. So thank you to the passport abuser who told me about that tip maybe a year or so ago. So I get those points. But I also use my Amex points. So Amex points transfer 1 for 1. So everything, I literally put everything on Amex and pay that way, so that I can take all of those points and move it over. I either move it over to Marriott or use it for other travel. But in this case, I moved those points over so that I didn't have to pay really much of anything on my stay at the St. Regis. And it is an amazing property. You will be taken care of very well and really enjoy it. So I'm gonna toss to the video, and then I'll be back with you guys to hear your thoughts on Bermuda right after you see this. Take a look. So this trip to Bermuda for me was all about moving from sorrow to serenity. Arriving into Bermuda and seeing the tranquil turquoise water was a reminder that this was going to be a respite that my soul needed. Arriving at the St. Regis set the tone for just how pampered and nurtured I would be during my time here in Bermuda. The pristine beach and multiple pools were a welcome sight. And while my room was lovely, I think the best part of all was the view from the balcony. And seeing water that just nourishes my soul. It was exactly what I needed. I distinctly remember this first sunset where it looked like there was a hand, maybe the hand of God, holding the sun, and it was just a reminder that everything was going to be okay. Okay, so this is the beauty of Bermuda. I absolutely love the rocks that jet up out of the water. Port St. Catharines is right next door to the St. Regis Hotel. Bermuda is said to have over 100 churches. That means that it has more churches per square mile than any other country. During my time there, I visited this historic church as well as the unfinished church, which was an amazing sight to behold. This picturesque Gothic-style church was started in 1874, but never got completed, but today is used as an open-air wedding venue. Last morning at the hotel, the sky was filled with beautiful color, and these huge ships all made their way past my room, and it was something about seeing their movement that reminded me that I have to move forward. So no matter what heavy thing we may go through in life, we have to keep moving forward. The ship is coming ashore. Okay, so this is what cup match looks like in Bermuda. The people are out here celebrating emancipation and cricket, which is the second most interesting sport in sports. Spending the day at the nature preserve, celebrating cup match, had to be one of the highlights of my time in Bermuda. Seeing the warmth and generosity of the people, their genuine interaction and care for one another, as well as the stunning views and nature on display. It was simply amazing, awe-inspiring. Sunset in beautiful Bermuda. Climbing the stairs at Gibbs Lighthouse reminded me that life is a journey, and sometimes the best parts only happen after a hard climb. But keep climbing we must, and enjoy the views once we get to the top. Okay, are you sold? Are you sold on Bermuda? Now, I am not working for the Ministry of Tourism in Bermuda. I get no kickbacks for suggesting you go there. I just know how I felt. I know I experienced that awe, that wonder, that childlike joy, and more than anything, in a time where I was feeling mentally fragile, distraught, and grief-ridden. it was a place that brought me peace. So I can't recommend it enough. I highly, highly recommend it. And again, especially for a female solo traveler, you will absolutely enjoy it. Well, friends, we have reached the end of our time together today. But there's no need for sorrow, because I'll see you tomorrow. But until then, keep chasing travel beauty wherever your journeys may take you. Please like, please share with your friends, please comment, please subscribe. Thank you so much. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.